Up+Adam.
Tractor systems are offline.
We are Beyond FM.
Beyond FM.
The future of broadcasting is here.
Up+Adam with Adam Montiel. It's community content from Concentrate. It's Up+Adam with Adam Montiel.
Some say life is where it begins. Straight to the stars is where it ends. Yes, some say life is just where it begins. Straight to the stars is where it ends. Only to start again.
All right, it is Thursday. Thank you so much for being Up+Adam. My name is Adam Montiel. Now the rain's coming in. You could tell. Oof, you can tell. I was looking at the weather app. It was like a week straight. I had no idea this was happening. Like I knew, next week it's going to rain. I had no idea it's for like a week straight. Maybe a break next Tuesday, but all through next Friday, it's like rain emoji, rain emoji, rain emoji. Man, look, today's show, I'm excited. He's got country roots, a rock star work ethic, and some family lineage that will turn heads. But what makes this young man, Timothy Wayne, stand out has nothing to do with his uncle, Tim McGraw. This guy's writing songs that stick with you, belting out hooks that feel like, I feel like I got into country music a little bit with K-Jug. I feel like K-Jug was in its heyday in like the early 2000s, and or country music certainly was, but even the station, it's just, I don't know. It's like there's something about country music that I've always kind of left a little bit of my heart with country radio, country music, and even country fans. But this guy, Timothy Wayne, was really excited to meet him. He's got a single called Good Ole Boys Girl. It's already lighting up playlists. And whether you're into country music or not, I don't listen to country music all that much anymore. This chat hits different. I was really hoping that it would. Later in the show, we're going to go one-on-one with this guy, Timothy Wayne. Tim McGraw's niece. No, what am I? Niece. I just misgendered the dude. Good God. Can't do that in country music, right? A nephew, sorry. We're going to talk about growing up in the shadow of country royalty, why he's taken the long road instead of the fast track when it comes to this dream of his that he shares with his uncle, and the moment he knew he had a sound of his own. And if you've ever wondered what it's like to have a, quote, a famous name, a family connection, we're going to dig into that. Because how do you use that without losing yourself or your cred? Stay tuned, because this conversation, I think it's going to turn you into a fan. I was really interested to even get more into that than just like, hey, we're going to have a young superstar Timothy Wayne and talk his music. Because again, I'm not all that into country music anymore, especially the way it's changed. I mean, look, it's been changing and hasn't had its identity for a long, look, in the 90s, it was like Faith Hill, Shania Twain, literally doing pop, and they were calling it country. And then later on, you got the whole bro country where it's like, I'm a truck, and I'm a girl, I'm a beer. And it's just kind of like, but there's something so, even though there's a lot of inauthenticity with regards to the way country music is fed to us, there are like the Chris Stapletons, and this young man, like there's a lot of people who are really just down, like ride or die. And there's something really cool. I've always been fascinated by that. So I think this is going to be a fun conversation. You ready for another HIPAA violation? I knew I had an ear infection, and then I actually got seen. And I have one of those Amazon cameras that you can like kind of stick in there. That's probably part of the problem. And I have a dermatology appointment, like a regular appointment. So I asked ChatGPT, I'm like, look, I know I got an ear infection. Can my dermatologist like just look in my ear, prescribe something like yada, 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 bing, bang, boom. And ChatGPT's like, oh yeah, like that's a doctor. They will boom. People see them for their ears. I go to my dermatologist and she says, dude, I haven't looked in somebody's ears in 15 years. Like, do you see, I don't know what that little scope is called on the wall, like the iriscope, whatever, right? Because I haven't had an iriscope on my wall for forever, and there's a reason, because I don't want people asking me. So she was giving me some stuff, but it was fun. It was all in good, she's a fantastic doctor too. So I thought, at least, and then she was like, if you need me to get you some drops, let's, we'll try it out. So I go, well, I have this little Amazon. I brought my camera to the dermatologist because for some reason I thought this might happen. I'm like, what if she's a dermatologist? What if she doesn't have one of those little iriscopes? And I know that's not what it's called. So I said, she didn't want to do it. And I said, will you just humor me and let me stick this Amazon camera into my ear and you look at it? So funny. So she goes, okay. So I do it. And she's like, oh, that's gnarly. Yeah. So even the doctor was like, oh yeah, something's up. So then you got to be like, I don't know what's up, because this thing's not a medical device. It's a thing from Amazon. So I'm not going to prescribe something based on what this says, but I'm looking at it going, you might need to have that really checked out, because, if your eardrum is perforated, if certain things are going on, the drops I might give you could totally make things worse. So I'm not, so we agree I'm not going to get anything from her. I got to head to urgent care right after that. So it was like one appointment to the next. I went to urgent care and they looked in, they're like, oh yeah, you got like textbook ear infection, blah, blah, blah. And I even brought out I'm like, can I run to my car? I want to show you what the Amazon It was really cool. But yeah, why am I telling you this? You're asking. I know, why am I, getting super TMI? It's the earbuds. And I have small, like I said yesterday, I got small little baby, delicate, adorable ears. For a big fat cranium, I know I got some small little baby ears. And these earbuds, you put it, and some people wear them, they'll be in my ears, nothing's even going on. Lady I fancy would be like, are you listening to something right now? I'm like, no, I forget they're in there. I fell asleep with, the one where the ear infection is the other night. And I'll oftentimes fall asleep with one in the other ear, just like listening to a podcast or the news or something as I fall asleep. I guess I got that from my dad. My dad would always do that. But these pods in at least my ears, but the doctor was saying, no, he's seeing this all the time, because these pods are becoming like more and more of a thing. And they're just like, people just keep them in and forget about them. And especially if you're sleeping, you can't do that. That's not good. So I'm actually looking for like those bone induction earphones, or the kind that float outside. I don't want to go straight over ear. I mean, I've been in broadcasting forever. I'm wearing over ear headphones right now, but they're big. When I'm in the studio, great. But I don't want to walk around like that. If I'm on a flight, maybe that's one thing. But just I don't know, a little bit of a PSA. If you're rocking the headphones or someone they can really, especially, you get a little bacteria on the ear pod that can sit in there, and then you don't have a lot of air getting into your ear, that bacteria, and boom, you got an ear infection as a grown-ass adult, and it's not fun. Like, I woke up in the middle of the night. I'm even on meds now, and I woke up feeling that thing. It's just like brutal. So if you are into the ear pods like I am, and you depend on them a lot, and you use them a lot, you got to be careful, because I have just made a new life decision with that. I can't do this, itchy ears, blah, blah, blah. I thought it was just, no, gotta be careful. So anyways, something to at least consider. And I will break my HIPAA violations just to, if I can have one person listen and go, oh yeah, that's me. I'm going to do that. So, all right. Let's see. We got a downtown farmers market taking a rain check tonight. Organizers say canceled for what is going to be some heavy rain, heavy gusts of wind, some wind advisories across the Central Coast, not just for the shoppers, but for the vendors who rely on tents, lights, all that gear. Safety's making the call tonight, so they've called off farmers market. This market's been rolling since 1983. We recently had on Rob Rossi. He was one of the people from what I understand, was told helped start farmers market. Pretty cool. So yeah, taking a night off tonight, farmers market. There you go. The little info there. So I think I had another story. Oh, a little update. The mother of that missing 9-year-old girl from Vandenberg Village, she's been released from custody. Remember we told you last week she was arrested after for a felony false imprisonment charge. And they're not saying it's directly related to what's going on with Melody. This mom, she's 40, she's wearing all kinds of wigs, going all over the country, putting her daughter in these wigs. Melody Buzzard is her name. She was reported missing October 14th after being absent from her independent studies, where they kind of check in the school. We're like, hey, we haven't seen this girl in a minute. Investigators say Ashley and Melody were seen on a multi-state road trip that spanned as far as Nebraska before Ashley returned home alone. Judge ordered Ashley to stay away from the victim as a man who, I don't know what relation. I think the cops were just trying to, get her down on something in the meantime so they could probably interrogate her more. But they put her on some GPS supervision. And that missing child investigation remains active. So any public tips, you can get a hold of the Santa Barbara County Sheriff's Department. Man, I hope they find this girl. It is, these stories, I mean, there are different shows and news organizations, podcasts looking into this. I just pray for this little adorable girl. Super cute, super sweet, and just like that face of just complete innocence, right? And this big, beautiful head of hair, and this mom is putting wigs on it, trying to disguise her. Why is she doing that? What's going on there? So we'll keep you updated and see what's going on in this case. All right, before we get into our chat with our new friend Timothy Wayne, nephew of Tim McGraw. It's pretty interesting. Can't wait to get into this Nepo baby stuff, right? And I'm not calling him that, but everyone's going to think that. We'll ask him about that. I want to thank my friends at Life Elements for being up and at 'em. Martha, Kurt, they're at their spot in Atascadero practicing wellness alchemy. I call them a skincare speakeasy, baby. Life Elements is where you can walk in, see things, smell things being made in real time. I swear I walked in there last week and it was just like menthol, like bam. My sinuses cleared right the F up. It was unbelievable. It was like, I just walked in and was like, thank you. Like that was perfect. She's always working on something, a lotion, a bug spray you didn't know you needed. Everything is small batch, cruelty-free, made with real healing in mind. In addition to their spot in A-Town, you can shop their products at The Hive in Arroyo Grande, the General Store downtown Paso, of course, lifeelements.com. When you're there, use the promo code ADAM, A-D-A-M, save 15% off. I've had listeners, I swear, say that they didn't want to use the code because they wanted to give the full amount to, Martha and Kurt for their company, which has got to be the sweetest thing ever. But no, use that promo code. It saves you a little bit of money, and it lets them know you heard it from Adam, which is me. Use the promo code Adam. Check it out, lifeelements.com. Support local and let your wellness meet its maker.
It's Up and Adam with Adam Montiel.
All right, this dude, he's a college senior, a history buff, and a country artist who's making major waves, all while carrying a family lineage that comes with a whole lot of weight. But I'll be honest, the reason I wanted to have this conversation was to see if I was talking to a guy who's just riding coattails or maybe someone with real soul. Behind him, someone who's not just using the in, but actually trying to earn it. Or at least that's what we're here to find out. Is this just a name riding wave or a young artist out there building something authentic? Is the dude just coasting on connections, or is there a real gritty, grounded drive underneath it all? He's got a new single. It's called Good Ole Boys Girl, produced by his uncle, Tim McGraw. Timothy Wayne is walking that fine line between legacy and identity of his own. And we're going to see how he's doing it. Timothy Wayne, my man, welcome. Thanks for being up and at 'em.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Absolutely.
So you're playing sold out shows. You're opening for names like Lee Brice, Tim McGraw, yet you're also hitting the books at LSU, cramming for exams, mastering beer pong, balancing life like any other student, I'm sure. What does it feel like to be standing on a stage one night and back in a college classroom, maybe the next morning? Does it ever feel like you're living two different lives?
No, I mean, yes and no. That's actually good on you. That's the first time anybody's ever asked me that. That's awesome. Great question. No, well, I guess it does kind of feel like two lives every once in a while. It's I wouldn't say I guess surreal would be the word to use. It's definitely an interesting feeling, going from stage to classroom. But I usually go from stage to classroom right back to the stage. So it's pretty, it's not very abrupt. It's just kind of flows into each other. But yeah, I guess I would say that it's kind of like, kind of like having a double life, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. You said Tim McGraw, obviously your biggest musical influence, but he's also like Uncle Tim to you, which is wild. Yeah. What's been harder, living up to the country music legacy of a Tim McGraw, or stepping outside it and proving like, hey, I'm Tim, I'm my own man?
I think both of them are equally as hard. Having Tim as my uncle is great. But you always have that nephew aspect, right? But with that, it just means that I need to work even harder and prove myself even more, and prove that I need to be here even more. And I do. I try to work as hard as I can, as much as I can, to make sure that I don't waste the privilege and the blessing that I have being able to do this for a living. It's now I think the hardest part isn't so much living up to, although I would say it's very hard to live up to the Tim McGraw aspect, but living up to Tim as a person, you can't find a better guy. Um, he's one of my biggest influences, not only in music, but just in life. He's a great man. He's a good father. He's a great uncle. Um, I've been blessed to have him, my older brother, and my dad as three father figures in my life, and him and my dad being the two chief ones. And it's living up to his reputation that way is the hardest part.
What does it feel like? When there's, I look at the song, I mean, the good old boys girl. It's not just catchy. It's really like this portrait, this kind of love letter to a kind of woman who might be real, yeah, but it's rare, right? Was there a real person, maybe someone specific who inspired the song, or was it kind of more of a composite of the kind of woman, a country boy like you grows up hoping to meet?
Well, I don't know what inspired the song. I didn't write it. I wish I did. One of my buddies was a writer on it. He released it before I did, Stephen Paul, but I fell in love with it. To me, it does represent I guess I don't really think they're rare now. I don't think a good old boys girl is rare now. I think you just have to look hard for them.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to choose what crowd is yours. And typically they pop up in certain crowds. But I think it's a special song. It reminds me a lot of my girlfriend, but it also, well, I will just say it reminds me a lot of my girlfriend. And
Yeah.
that's why I chose it. It's also just a good story. There's somebody, even if you don't have a girlfriend, there is somebody that when you hear that song, somebody pops in your head almost immediately of that face that you can see, and you're like, yeah, I know what this song is talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. I imagine touring with Tim had to come with some epic backstage moments, family or not. Were there kind of like moments on tour? What was that first kind of taste of that? Not just going like, because, Uncle Tim's playing, but because like, wow, I'm on this bill now. I'm a supporting act.
Well, I'll tell you, it's not lost on me the importance of being a supporting act and being privileged to do that, especially so young into my career. I've gotten to play a lot of cool stadiums, and that is not lost on me, and I'm not trying to downplay that at all. But I'll tell you the most influential moment or the most important moment to me was I just gotten off a stage, standing room only tour 2 years ago, last year, 2 years ago now. Oh gosh. No, it was, or I guess a little over a year ago. It doesn't matter. Getting off a stage, I had just finished my very first show. It was in Philly. And I got down off a stage and my uncle, I've very rarely, seen my uncle cry. And I got down off the stage and he was standing right next to the stage and we just hugged for like 5 minutes. And I am not an emotional person either. And I had tears rolling down my eyes too. When I tell you I'm not an emotional person, I've cried like 5 times. I can count on one hand the amount of times I've cried. I'm just not a very emotional person. When I get emotional though, I do get emotional and it lasts. And that was one of those emotional moments because it was kind of he was one of the first people that believed in me. Your parents always believe in you, but from an outside standpoint, he was the first person to sit me down and say, hey, I believe in you, but you need to believe in yourself. And when you believe in yourself, then you'll be able to do what you want to do, but you have to believe in yourself first. And the first person that believed in me, he was the reason why I was there. And coming down off the stage to see how proud he was and to see him crying, it was amazing.
Yeah, it's got to be something real validating for you too, because like, and I love how you added that, like your parents, of course, like they're very much going to support you and be all about you. But when, someone else that could see from the outside looking in, that really helps. And then you consider like, well, that person knows this game. They know this business. And not only they're literally one of the icons of this business. So the fact that they saw something was like, oh, that's pretty important. How do you kind of deal with it? What are the thoughts because look, these thoughts, Timothy, happen whether you are or are not a nephew of someone like a Tim McGraw. But imposter syndrome, you're like, oh my God, do I belong here? This is crazy. Are people going to find out I'm just Timothy? Like, this is nuts. Yeah. How do you manage that? You're so young. You're so just like, you got it all. I mean, I'm so excited for you. But also that family, when does that family connection almost start to like go, man, I got to rise above it? Or does it ever become something else?
All the time. I'm constantly, I want to make sure, I don't want to say prove myself, but in a sense, it would be proving myself. I want to work hard to make sure that, how do I say this without sounding like I want to make sure that I work hard enough to let people know that I'm not just here just to be here. I'm here because I love what I do. It's not lost on me that it's a privilege. It's not lost on me that I'm very blessed to do what I do. It's not lost on me the privileges that I have. I want to make sure that people know that I am here because I want to be here and this is what I want to do. So it's kind of always going. Every show that I do, I'm kind of always thinking in the back of my head, all right, that we're going to go on the stage and we're going to rock them. We're going to give them one heck of a time. We've got to make sure that they enjoy themselves. And I've got to make sure that I put on a good show because they're here to listen to music and to hear stories, and I've got to deliver. So it's kind of always.
Favorite one to cover right now? What's your favorite song to cover?
Oh my gosh. I have been covering Southern Nights recently. By Glenn Campbell's version of that. Alan Toussaint was the first person that did it. And then Glenn Campbell did it after Jerry Reed added this lick onto the intro of it. Bump, 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 bump. And I love that song. So I've been doing a cover of that for a while now.
Let me tell you really quick, Little Texas. I know you're young, but man, you go back to some old Little Texas, God Bless Texas, or throw on like You and Forever and Me. You start bringing that stuff back, people are going to go nuts. And it's just, God, there's some about, as you know, there's some about 90s country music that was just like, really, really fun.
Well, you know what's funny is I actually have a show this weekend with Little Texas.
Stop it.
Yeah. Which is awesome because Little Texas was one of the first people that my uncle opened for in his career.
Wow.
So that's pretty cool. Anyways.
So what's that touring group? Is it like Dell and some of the other? I mean, because it's obviously not Brady. I don't think it's Brady Seals.
I have no idea.
Yeah, look, you got to look them up because they had the two of the guys had a falling out. So like Brady Seals.
I remember that part.
Yeah. But man, just a song. In fact, just a really fun story. Do I have time for a real fun story, Michael? Okay, cool. So they're playing out here, Timothy, and they come out here to play the fair, and Brady Seals is here, but Brady doesn't do like the You and Forever and Me stuff. There's some stuff that like Tim or whatever what guy's name wrote that they don't sing, so they separate it. But he called me he called me backstage, and he had the whole band there, and we just had a beer and talked, and he surprised me by singing You and Forever and Me just in the green room with the guys. It was like, I mean, it gave me chills. It's such a fun moment, but what a great song. And yeah, I just love I love country music because the connection, the people, and then when people throw it on covers, like people just show so much love to other people's music that inspired them. It's a lot of fun.
Absolutely. I love covering Simple Man too. I do that. Usually I'll have my band, I'll tell them in the microphone. I won't tell them when I'm doing it. It just randomly, I'll like look over at them and be like, y'all give me a minute. And then I'll just I do a shortened version of it. So I skip 2 verses. But I do the first, second, third verse and 3 choruses. And I love playing that song too. It's an awesome cover. I have a pretty good, Southern rock background.
Nice. Are there ways that you have to like be polite as the lead singer? Like, if you're in some jam band or some fun band, you might just like, hey, forget the set list. I'm changing tempo. I'm going to yell something back there. Let's do this on 3, But when you're doing what you're doing, it's like the band's got to know things like that. How free can you be? Like, I'm going to throw something into the wheel right here. We'll see what happens.
Well, I'm a very big believer, not knocking anybody else, but I don't use tracks at all. We don't have any tracks. Even though a lot of people have tried to convince me to use tracks, I always tell them no, because I'm very impromptu. I will randomly, I'll look at one of them and go, yeah, talk in the talkback mic, tell them we're doing this song next. And we'll do that song. So like I have my band that I play with from Nashville all the time. They're like my go-to band. I have a band in Louisiana that I play with. They'll be in Natchitoches with me. But my Nashville band that I use pretty much all the time, we probably know like 200 songs together. Maybe not quite that many, but we know a good bit of songs together. So when we're on stage, I can just go, hey, we're going to do this song instead of this one because I'm not feeling it. Which is awesome. When you work with tracks, it's hard to do that because every song has a track built to it. And usually tracks are used a lot for transitions. So if you want to go from, let's say your set list is Chattahoochee, Folsom Prison, Simple Man, and I decide I don't want to do Folsom Prison. I want to do Chattahoochee into Simple Man. Well, you have that track that's loaded up right there. So now it's like a whole scramble of, well, we got to get this track turned off because if that track leads into what was the song I said? Leads into Folsom Prison. Oh boy, here we go.
Yeah.
I want to do Simple Man with a Folsom Prison background, which is, so I don't really use tracks that much. So, it's not that difficult. I choose, I will humble brag. I choose really good musicians to work with. I love all the guys that I work with. I think they are the best or some of the best in their class. And, so usually they don't really have an issue. I mean, I started playing one night. I saw a couple and a dude asked if I would start playing When You Say Nothing at All. And so I looked and I said, I'm going to start playing it. So I started on my guitar and just started picking it, and my band picked up on it. And they had never played it on stage before, and we played it together right then. And I was like, y'all give a shout out to my band because we did not rehearse that. I don't think they've ever played it on stage before, and we just did that. So if you could give a massive round of applause to my band because this is awesome. And so I work with some masterclass guys, and it helps not working with tracks too, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, those are masterful, just magic moments, especially for the audience. Okay. Last question. Is it worse to be, as a newcomer, too polished or almost too freewheeling? Do you feel like that's a fence you have to sit right on?
Yeah. You know what? I don't really, I think there's something for everybody. There's people that want to come. There's people that want to come and see really, really polished, and not see a lot of jumping around and just see straight music. There's a lot of people that want to see freewheeling, which is like you show up and they say they're about to play Blues Before Sunrise, but they actually play. That's what I love about Sundays. And then there's people that love in between. I try to be more in between. I try to stick to the set list as much as possible. But if the crowd isn't getting into the music, you've got to change something. You got to get them into something. So I think having a good balance between the two is important. But I don't think it's more important to be one or the other. I think there's fan groups or there's just groups that I prefer either or. If I go, I just want to listen to music and have a good story told. I don't care if you're sticking to your set list or if you're just bouncing around the place. So long as I get to listen to a bunch of music and hear a lot of stories, I'm good to go. Nice.
Well, what did we learn? Good Ole Boys Girl. They're not rare. You just got to find them.
Yep.
This is impressive. You're an impressive guy to chat with, man. I really enjoyed meeting you. I'm going to make sure I follow you and I'll tag you when I post some of these videos and stuff. And I would really love to continue, maybe chat with you again someday and see your meteoric rise, man. I'm excited for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Some say life is where it begins. Straight to the stars is where it ends. Only to start again.
All right, big thanks to Timothy Wayne. You can find more at TimothyWayneMusic.com. All the links for him in the show notes, including if you want to follow him on socials if you're into country music. But if you're not, and I haven't listened to country music in a minute, I got to be honest, I found this conversation and meeting him and asking these questions really, really interesting. And I really hope that you did too. All right, looking forward to tomorrow, Friday. Talk Pet of the Week, Robin Coleman, and more. Thanks to our friends at Moonshiner Collective. You know, they got a show coming up tomorrow at the Siren in Morro Bay. Check that out. If you've been fans of Moonshiner Collective for a while, maybe even Still Time, maybe you remember the Still Time days, they're going to be having some dudes from Still Time. They're going to be doing like a Still Time set as well. So it's going to be really, really exciting. Little blast from the past. Great show to see them. Siren tomorrow night. Moonshiner Collective. You can learn more. There's links to them through the show notes here. Thanks to Josh and Chiasa Tamber, like that's their last name. Josh and Chiasa Clapper from Tamber, tamberwinery.com, Timbre. You can taste their wines in the village of Arroyo Grande. World-class wines. Check out their Pinot, their sparkling Albarino, sparkling Riesling. Oh man, they make some great wines. They certainly do. And I thank them for giving us the Tamber Lowbro Studios. Till tomorrow, stay dry, drive safe. Appreciate you a ton. Thank you for rating, reviewing, subscribing to the podcast, and sharing with a friend. Maybe a friend today who likes country music. Until tomorrow, I'm Adam Montiel. Appreciate you a bunch for being Up and Adam.
Some say life is where it begins. Straight to the stars is where it ends. Only to start again. Let's start again. We'll start again. Let's start again.